Yeah, I'm about to say some shit now.
Hey, come on, I'm ready to say it too. Uh, let's see, whatever. Here's that. Okay. All right. Charles Campbell, hoopdfw.com. I'm with Ani Umana. Ani, you're doing so much now, man. Field of 68. You just did a Field of 68 broadcast, right?
yeah. I just did a pod.
You Phil, we can talk a little bit of that towards the end. I want to hear some predictions on March Madness. We'll see what you're thinking. But today is all about this belt to ass that we gave Houston and the state of Texas at the state championships. Man, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Like I said, like you talked about, I did a pod earlier, so I'm on podcast mode. Tuesdays are like podcast days for me.
Okay, okay.
Even if it's like pre-recorded or live, like this one's live, pre-recorded. So I like to get my Tuesdays right. Just straight pod days. I'm doing a lot of talking, doing a lot of yapping. So I'm doing
There you
good.
go.
How
Is it tea, coffee? What are you? I'm a tea guy. Are you a coffee guy? What are you?
coffee? But I didn't even was able to have coffee this morning. But I'm still up. Like, thank God I got up and I had a lot of energy.
Yeah, ready to go. Man, we gotta hop right into this. The internet is buzzing. A lot of folks in Houston are upset, angry, mad, making a lot of excuses as to why we went down there and kicked their ass. I mean, it's just that simple. We kicked their ass. Now they're talking about it's too many high schools, it's this, it's that, it's this and that. The basketball in DFW is just superior. It's that simple. It's just superior. We're better. We're better than the entire state. We just proved it. We're even claiming Lipan and Paradise as part of DFW. We've never claimed them ever. We've never claimed Paradise or Lipan. Because Lipan has been winning state championships. I mean, I don't know how many that is in a row, but when you look up, Lipan is always in the state championships. So shout out to them. Congrats on another win. But man, what do you think? Before we hop into the individual games and performances, but what do you think is happening right now in the state of Texas when it comes to the different metropolitan areas in terms of basketball?
I just think like the high school thing is probably a little bit part of the problem. I feel like in Dallas, though, I lived in Houston for a year and a half. It may not be for a long, long time, but I've lived there. Open gyms, like Dallas, there
Mm,
are so many open gyms going on the weekend, weekday. I mean, listen, people know that I coach. I used to coach. I still kind of oversee with Taka Storm. Like my
yeah,
kids would be done with practice and then go to another school's open gym after their practice.
right.
All the time. They're like, "Yeah, I'm at this school." I'm not gonna name schools because I don't want them, coach may get in trouble. But like, like they're going to different schools,
Yeah,
working out, doing like just going against each other. KD talked about like where he felt like the most growth was when there was the NBA lockout, and then he would just go and do open runs all the time, and he was
just
just doing
hope. Yeah,
and I feel like that's important. Like this past weekend, man, I was like at one school watching open runs, and they're talking about, oh yeah, we went to this open run yesterday. Like four different schools are having open runs. Like the training, the multi-core facilities, it just the competition. Like everyone, guys mess with each other like the players do, but they compete. Like they're always competing. They're
yeah,
in the gym. Like there's a lot more kids that are living in the gym, and I feel like in Houston, just from my experience it's more, oh, you go here, you can't come here. Or you train with this person, you can't come. Like it's more. Yeah,
really.
I've heard. Yeah, there's that. Some of that's going on, and I'm not saying there's no open gyms in Houston, but
Right,
just
right, right.
that you see in Dallas compared to Houston, like the way these boys compete and train and stay in the gym. Like if someone literally wanted to be in the gym all day, they're they're able to. You know what I
Right.
mean? I also will say this: like in Dallas, you see these high school coaches get fired because they're not winning games.
Oh,
Uh, how much are we seeing that in Houston?
right. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak to it. And it's funny because, um, hopefully, I'm gonna have Jim Hicks on Thursday morning. We're gonna get right to this Dallas versus Houston thing, but that's a big thing, man. We for I think for a while here though, we had guys just sitting in positions not performing and kind of holding up the line. But I think you might be onto something.
Yeah, like you just see that more. I think the amount of multi-core facilities plays a big factor in that too. Like,
Yeah,
you got Grapevine Fieldhouse, Mansfield Field. I mean, there's just so many multi-core facilities in Dallas,
right,
and I
right.
think that gives us an edge. I think there's a lot of talent in Houston. I'll be honest with you. I know the showing wasn't great this year. I think there's
Yeah,
a lot of talent there, but I do feel like the way these guys compete in Dallas on a
yeah,
day to day looks different than it does Houston. And until there's a change in that, and until guys even really kind of get along more and stop beefing as much,
yeah,
and Houston and just more like get along, like, hey, let's just do what's best for the kids. Like let's just have a let's kind of bring it back to what it was in the early 2000s. You know what I
yeah.
mean? If they can get like there's a lot of that's missing from back then that is not here now.
Mm.
And I do think that it's not a hard turnaround, but it does mean guys are going to have to come together more and
They
got to
gonna have to do. They gonna have to do something, man.
they're going to have to come together. They're going to have to come together more. And like Charles, I was saying this in San Antonio, like in Dallas, the difference is like we may I may not like someone or care for someone that much, but if
Right,
they have something and I think it can be something that helps the community or helps the kids, we're gonna support.
right.
You
Absolutely,
We're gonna
absolutely.
support. I don't know if I did not see that nowhere near as much in my time in Houston. Again, it was a year and a half. I'm not saying it was a long
Right,
time.
right, right, right.
But I remember I'm going to TJ Ford gym. I'm going to like there was no event operator. I did not go to the events and support.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I feel like we just have that a little bit more. I just thought that was a norm. Like I need to check in with TJ Ford. I need to go to Sloan's camp. I need to go to Hicks event. Yeah, Nelson's drawing a blank. His event. Like I just felt like if I could be somewhere and someone that in Houston that was running something, I would just show up just to
right.
kind of if I saw a hidden gem or just because I know that's someone that is that's important to the city that's doing something. I would try to show up. Not saying I was 100. I bat at 100%, but I
Yeah.
felt like the need to kind of just show support. Um, I feel like we get that a little bit more in Dallas than we do Houston.
No, I can agree with you. I know there's some folks out there that probably watching the podcast that don't care for me too much or like what I
Right.
say or have to say, but that doesn't stop me from supporting. It doesn't stop me from supporting their school or team. When they have good players, we're gonna talk about good
Right.
But that's an interesting take. I think the adults, we should be the leaders of the community. I don't know if we should be gatekeep. I don't know. I don't think we should be gatekeepers or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like what you're saying, like, hey, you can't go train with him. You can't go over there with them. I think we should do it for the betterment of the kids, for the betterment of the community. And the one thing I can say I do like and I've enjoyed is seeing DFW come together as a whole after we just demolished the competition. Um, and just kind of saying, hey, we're superior, we're better, we are. I mean, we're showing you that we are. I was talking to Michael Timmons, shout out Gasso, um, and he was like, man, I got to set up some of these matchups so these other cities can get some retribution, so they can get some get back for this AAU season. But I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen. We have a really good crop of kids. We have some good coaching. I'm not gonna say we have good coaching across the board, but we have some good coaching. But I just think, we want it more. We definitely want to win state more. You
Right.
know, I think we definitely take the playoffs in state and the pride of representing DFW to the highest level. I know that just seeing some of the interesting comments on Instagram and other places. Um, there was a lot of negative. A lot of adults were being negative with several programs, and those programs won state. Those kids won state, and it's kind of like, yeah, look at us now. You know what I mean? So this bulletin board material, this chip on the shoulder that we have in house on top of, we just want to kick Houston's ass. We want to whoop San Antonio's ass. We want to whoop everybody else's ass. I mean, it just was the perfect storm, man. It was the perfect storm. 7-0. I can say, I didn't think we would go 7-0. I didn't. I said at the beginning of the season, I didn't think that at the 6A level we could kind of overcome Atascocita and some of that other stuff. But once Brennan took care of them, I mean, it was kind of like, oh, okay, and North Crowley handled business. But we can get into the 6A later.
And I want to before we get like Houston in the private school level has been really good. You got Second
Yeah,
Baptist that won the
yeah,
5A state championship. You have Houston Christian that won the SBC league, and then they played I think Houston Episcopal for the
yeah.
championships. There's a lot of really good talent in the private school level in
It
Houston.
is.
I acknowledge that. Like I know in the public school level that was a rough showing, but in the private school level, I think there's a lot more talent there right now than we looking at in the public school.
Yeah, yeah. I can agree with that. Grace Prep, they were overmatched. They were overmatched. Reese Austin is a hell of a point guard. He's hard to deal with, and he led his team to another championship. But no, it's just such an interesting time, man. Dallas. It's always been Dallas versus Houston. But it's just so interesting to see now that we are just so dominant. I mean, and even when we add in football, the Duncanvilles, the South Oak Cliffs, the DeSotos, excuse me. Um, it's like we're just a premier sports city in the country. I mean, if we want to be honest, we can say the world. So, but Friday night, I was at work. I couldn't get down there Friday night, but you were there. Friday night, DISD goes 3-0. The brothers win championships. That's the second time that's happened before Snoop and his brother won. What did you see? What did you think? What were your thoughts on Friday night?
Madison, shout out to Gerald for getting his first state title as a head coach. I mean, they played really well. I'm going back to my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won that game. It was fairly convincing. Josiah Cobb had 20 points and 6 assists. I thought he just consistently got downhill. I also like Darius Hooks. He was like a rangy like wing that just was making athletic plays and
Yeah.
showed some defensive versatility. He was really intercepting those passing lanes. And then Aiden Durr, who's a 2027, I kind of liked him. Like he knew when he needed to kind of get a paint touch, get them into their flow of their offense, kind of do some self-creating, calm the offense down. Like I know they had I want to say a 15-point lead or a 17-point lead. They started playing a little wild.
Yeah.
Aiden took the ball and just really just calmed everyone down. Got a paint touch. I think he got to the foul line or just got an easier shot. So I just liked how his poise in that moment was. But Josiah Cobb won MVP and rightfully so. He was a C-State in attack mode. For Kimball, so going to that next game, like Kimball, it was fairly convincing against Fort Ben Crawford.
Yeah.
Jalen Hancock, I think, had like 9 points in the first quarter. He was making threes. This is a 6'3" unsigned senior that has long arms, really athletic. Even though he didn't complete any of those tip dunks, like he was just creating second, third opportunities just because he was so aggressive on the glass. He was making threes. He was getting to the pull up. It was one of the better games of Jalen Hancock. Someone that is a scholarship level basketball player. I don't know if whatever level. I'll let the college coaches kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
But he's someone that has a good basketball body, someone you can add weight to, someone that's athletic. I think there's even upside into the athleticism, the shooting. I think the shooting's a little bit more streaky right now, but we saw it go in. I saw it go in on Friday. He was really, really good. And the one kid that I've been impressed with every time I've seen Kimball this year is Rylan Austin.
I was gonna say Rylan Austin, yeah.
He's 227. He's a southpaw. He really gets them into their stuff. He's really good in pick and roll, finding finding the short roll or the heavy roll guy, making the skip passes, getting to the floater game. Kind of like Aiden Durr, but I think Rylan's a little bit more, I would say a little bit more advanced as far more of like a floor manager right now.
Yeah.
I just really like how he plays, like how he just is poised. He gets them to the spot. He's crafty off the dribble. Like he's not someone that has crazy blow by speed, but he just knows how to keep the defense at bay with hang dribbles, in and out, spins. And he was just a good leader, like it. And that's someone like Kimball has an opportunity to win state title next year and the year following. Like, I mean, we're looking at a potential like really historic run of state championship.
Nah, for real.
From Kimball, like they can win the next 3 state titles. Like
they can. Yeah, they can.
That's what's really interesting there. So, shout out to Kimball, the brothers, like you mentioned, Charles, Gerald and Nick Smith, they won a state title. And then the evening, the recap on Friday was Dallas Carter, where they I think they played Lamarck, was it?
Yes.
And I mean, that was it got to 30 points at one point. Lamar kind of gave it a fight in the first quarter. I think they were up, and then after that, it got ugly. Carter just their pace. Like I think Lamarck was getting up and down. I think when you get up and down with Carter, it's just hard. Like
You
you can't,
can't do that. No,
yeah,
you can't.
you,
You
you
can't
can't
do that.
make this a track meet with Carter. Like they're
Right.
gonna win those games. And Amarion Hunter, he had 21 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 steals. You know what? One thing about Amarion that people haven't seen him play, like he's a scorer.
He
He's
is.
someone that is very confident. He takes tough shots, but he makes them. I
Yeah.
mean, once he elevates and he sees that rim, it doesn't matter what level contest there is. He's going to let it fly. I've seen him shoot over double teams and make it. He's just someone that's such a confident scorer.
Yeah.
Even though you sometimes look at his shot selection, but it's like, man, like someone that has the confidence to take those shots and make them and have such a short memory. I think like people talk about scoring, but like one of his like superpowers is how short of a memory he has.
Yeah.
Like that kid can miss 5 shots in a row and take the 6th shot.
He gonna take the 6. Yeah, no, for sure.
So I was really I really like that about him. I like how he was in the passing lane, being aggressive on defense. He was rebounding like 10 rebounds, is super impressive. Like guards that rebound is translatable, and I want to see that with him going into the spring and the summer, the travel ball season. Like if he's rebounding at that level or just with that intent, also showing the scoring, I think he could really help him with his recruitment. Shaq Kizzy. So when Lamarck was I think they were up by like 5 or 6 at one point in the first quarter. Shaq came off the bench. He's a 227 kid. He's about 6'10. Looks like he's still growing. And he made 2 threes. He had 8 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
6'10, moves well, shoots the 3. Shaq he was on that glass, pretty tough, like tipping the passes so his team could get it to create second, third chance opportunities. He was like his aggression was good. He's not a very like strong, like physically kid, but he played strong. Like especially on the glass and side. I was really impressed with him, just his second and third effort. Terrell Jackson was, I thought, his biggest presence was in the paint, like blocking shots, altering shots at the rim. I thought he challenged a lot of shots at the rim.
Yeah.
That was really impressive with him. Cleanup duty, someone that's like lives in the dunker spots and finishes. But I thought the defense, like the rim protecting, kind of set that apart. When Lamarck got into that paint, he challenged a lot of shots at the rim.
He did.
And I felt like that was a key part of Carter being able to get the rebound and pushing. Like when you're a team and you're missing like multiple shots from 2 to 5 feet out from the rim and it just keep happening, it discourages you. So I thought Shaq played a big role. Caden Easton's energy was fantastic. He was what he was, how he's been all season, a big time utility like wing that gets just a lot of shit done. Like
I'm expecting a really big summer from him.
Yeah.
I think his size, his length, his motor, his energy, his athleticism, I think he's moving into the perfect storm for a really good spring and summer. It'll be really interesting to see what he does. I think he's a Dallas Mustangs kid. All of them are Dallas Mustangs kid except for Shaq because he plays with the Impact. But Caden Easton is one that just, he started off the season hurt and then he's come on, but he's doing all the little dirty work. He's rebounding, blocking shots, filling the lane. He's guarding the other team's best player. I just think he's a prospect that this year, now we know that that junior into senior summer is the most important summer now for high school kids. I just think he'll be on a lot of coaches' radars moving forward.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. And like you talked about, like how he is defensively and protecting the rim, using his length and rebounding. How effective he is like as a driver. Like I've seen him do straight line drives to be successful, going right, left. He's shown like he doesn't have to be like a knockdown shooter, but I think that swinging skill is going to be, can he keep defenses honest enough as like a catch and shoot threat, as a standstill shooter? It's going to be huge. But what he does right now is translatable. I think we're looking at a Division I prospect. What level? I think to your point is, what does he do in the spring and summer, and how well does he shoot it? Again, I'm not saying he needs to shoot 40-45% from 3, but can he be respectful enough where you see the upside as a shooter, where when he goes to the college game, he's someone that the defense still has to close out on him, where it opens up the driving lanes, because we know what the impact is going to do on the glass, on defense. But that shooting is going to be key, and I think it's something there. Looking at you free throws, looking at him, shooting warm-ups, there's something really there with the shooting.
Yeah, I think his upside is as high as anybody on that team. I mean, that Carter team, we're looking at them they can repeat. They'll probably repeat next year. You know, we might do this whole thing again. We might go down again next year, and it's Madison, Carter, and Kimball again. I mean, it just speaks to one how good DISD basketball as far as the top teams are. Because if we can, Kimball beat Beaumont United. Beaumont United played for the state championship. You know, they're just really really good teams, and that I think the style of DISD basketball is still alive. I think it's there, and it's exciting. No, it's exciting to watch DISD right now, and it's going to be a great season moving forward. Day two, we kicked off day two. Beaumont Westbrook and Frisco Heritage. You know, basically Elijah Garrett versus Cameron Lomax and Bryson Howard. Um, I was surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that Frisco Heritage would struggle a little bit just because of the workload that the top two guys have. But they handled business. They took care of it. And that Bryson Howard was gave us a goose egg in the first quarter, but once he got going in the second quarter, he never stopped.
Yeah, he never did. He ended up with 28 points, 15 rebounds. Like, I mean, he was just getting to that rim using his athleticism. They put him at the top of the press. How many passes did he deflect, or how many turnovers he caused? Because they have to throw over him. You know what I mean? Then
Right.
it led to just like transition buckets. I think he made a few threes.
Yeah. The shot was falling. It was feathery. It was nice and feathery too.
Yeah. He started making shots again. People realize, like, he graduates high school at 17. Like, this is a Duke pledge. Bryson Howard's fantastic, lefty. Got long arms, strong frame, athletic. It's a very more than a capable jump shooter. Defensively, it's just a dog. And Cam Lomax, even though he didn't, on my tweet I put out, he didn't have like a loud performance.
It wasn't his best game. Wasn't his best game by far.
Birdville, I saw him against Red Oak, just like put up numbers.
Yeah, terrorizing people.
Yeah, I think he was averaging over 30 points before he got into that game. Like, it was, but him and Bryson Howard are one of the best 1-2 combos in the country. It's not even close. Like, I think they're the best combo in the state. I know people, you got Gooseby. You could say like the dynamic prep. I don't know if there's really like a combo like that, because they just got dudes in their first five.
Yeah.
It's not like two guys they just so heavily rely on just to win games compared to like Frisco Heritage. But like Lomax and Bryson just they beat teams by themselves. Like,
it was just them two. Yeah, it was just them two. I think they were averaging something around 60 or 60 plus points between the two of them. I mean, they were beating teams, just those two.
Right.
And it's hard to deal with. And it's really interesting because they have really distinct and different styles. Lomax is always on the gas. He's always putting pressure on the defense. He's trying to get to the rim. But Bryson Howard is kind of like that cool, calm, chill guy that has that killer mentality.
Yeah. I what's so crazy is like Bryson had the summer that he had in EYBL. 5-star kid, gets Duke. Some services have him top 5 in the country. He's unanimous top 15, 20 guy, 4 or 5-star guy. Someone that me and you felt like should have been in McDonald's All-American game. More than his credentials was more than good enough.
He should have been there. He should have been there.
He should have been there for sure. But to see that Cam Lomax goes to Faye family, comes back.
Yeah.
Bryson, he doesn't, like, there was no competition on whose team this was, right?
Right.
Like, Bryson was like, hey, Cam, you rock out. You hot, you go rock out. I'm going to come support you when you rocking out. And Cam did the same for Bryson.
Yeah.
Like, that speaks a lot about like their character. You know what I mean? Because it could have easily, because last year you would probably say that's more Cam's team than Bryson's, right?
Right.
I felt like Bryson had the summer that he had, and he didn't let his ego or the accolades or anything like deter what their goal was, to win a state championship and to win games. And I felt like they just played off each other, and there was like they put their ego aside to win. And that speaks a lot about them.
In the post-game presser, they talked about it. And they talked about that when Cam came back, they had to sit down and have some conversations, And the one thing that Bryson told him was, I'm here to support you. Like, I'm here. And like you said, for a kid that had the summer that he had in the world that we live in, and he's going to Duke, you would think that he would be an arrogant asshole. That's what you would think. But he is not. that their goal was to win the championship. That is what they wanted to do. And they understood that they needed each other, and it was good to hear them say that in that post-game press conference. But you're exactly right. I mean, their character about who they are, because that could have imploded a team.
Yeah.
It implodes a lot of teams at the high school level where the egos are so big, and then the parents' egos get on top of those egos,
Right.
and it creates an even bigger problem. You know what I mean? So, it was really, really cool to see. But I mean, against Westbrook, who had Elijah Garrett, who had some of the other players, I mean, they were really,
Yeah.
yeah, they were a formidable opponent, and they weren't really challenged for real.
Yeah. And I think Elijah Garrett, to me, I feel like it's a Division One prospect. Has some schools call about him. I think he's someone that will probably get something late. And
Yeah.
Braden Moton is someone that I really like. I mean, he's interesting at his size and his skill. Like a big wing. I mean, so yeah, it was a formidable opponent. But for what Bryson and Lomax and just that Heritage team, everyone just played their role at a high
Yeah.
level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to them on that.
Mansfield Summit, Beaumont United. Again, a matchup that I wasn't necessarily sure we were going to win that. Beaumont United comes in with Ephraim Moore, big 6'9", powerful power forward. And then Peyton Jones, the all everything point guard, got some high major offers. I really like him a lot. Then Mansfield Summit, they lost Theo Brennan to start the season. They lost
Caleb,
you said who?
Caleb Richard.
Yeah, Caleb Richard to iSchool, and then he went on to
Leadership Prep, I think.
Leadership Prep. Yeah. So I was just kind of like, whoa, they won state with that group last year. It doesn't look like it, and here we are looking at them at state again, and then they're playing against this Beaumont United team, and it seemed like they had them completely confused and outmatched.
They did. I mean, shout out to Amon Pritchard. Amon Pritchard.
Absolutely.
He like the defensive game plan was great. I mean, he's one of the best. Honestly, like he's one of the best defensive minds we have in high school basketball, especially in the state.
We do.
Kind of how he can really take what you do best offensively away from an individual or a team standpoint. I thought that's what we looked at here, like how he made it hard for United to get the ball to Moore. They made it hard for Peyton Jones to get a paint touch because they really crowd that paint when you drive, right?
They do.
They want you to kick that out, and they use their anticipation skills and their length to really challenge shots on the perimeter as well. I think he did a good job with just the pressure he applied in the full court, trying to tire out Peyton. Getting up the court. Jackson Sneed, senior, who was good, just like pull up shooter, stay in attack mode. I thought he did a good job as a ball mover. He made quick decisions with the basketball. I thought he's impressive. Joseph Creel, like I think he had 21 points. He made 6 threes.
He went crazy. I was. I knew he could shoot because he came to the DFW 60 to start the season, and he had a good performance. But on this stage and in the Alamo Dome, team shot horribly in the Alamo Dome. It's a hard place to shoot. He went bananas.
Yeah, Butters was like tracking. My boy Butters was tracking.
Shout out Butters.
Shout out to Butters. Was tracking like the 3-point percentages from like as a whole throughout the tournament. And Joseph had the best 3-point shooting numbers out of anyone in that tournament. That's very impressive as a freshman. You look at someone about 6'6" that can really shoot the ball. He did shoot it well at your camp, Charles. But one thing I feel like he added was just kind of more of the no dip threes. Like he's getting his shot off quicker. Yeah. So like even if you help off a little bit once he gets the ball, it's like a hot potato, but not in a bad way. Like he gets it off quick. And at his size, he's just shooting over you and scoring. So I just thought like as a shooter, like as a spot up shooter, he's really like has really like gotten to the craft, like really advancing the craft of like those no dip threes and that quick trigger, which it just makes it such a problem. Like when you got guys like Jackson and there's the other cat that was kind of getting to the paint. When you kick it out to him, if you give him any type of space, he just launched that and go up, especially with his size and his length. So Joseph was fantastic, but I really like Pritchard did a really good job.
He did.
Defensively. Like he frustrated Beaumont. He gave him different looks. He put a lot of pressure. He tired them out. He knew when to kind of make this a track meet, knew when to slow it down and kind of get into their sets. But I thought Creel was fantastic. I thought Jackson was good. I thought the whole team really bought into the game plan, and I felt like we've been seeing that all year. This is someone like, to your point, he didn't have Theo, he didn't have Caleb. So talk about the culture of next man up. Like like that's what just occurred with Mansfield Summit, and they won a state title.
And he spoke to that. You know, he had a conversation with the team and basically told them, "Hey, we can't focus on who's not here. You know, we gotta be us. We gotta do what we do and make it happen." And you know, we didn't see Jackson Sneed very much last year because he was injured. But what a year! Uh, what a hello, here I am moment. You know what I mean? He's had a great year, and then in the state championship, he played an excellent floor game, and like you said, he was slashing, driving, you know, getting people involved. He had an excellent floor game. Definitely a college player, like you said. Leave that up to the coaches to figure out what level. But the kid deserves, you know, a scholarship to go to college. I mean, he's that type of player, and I think his best basketball is ahead of him. And he played. He got hit in the face, was bleeding all over the place.
Right, right.
You know, just showed his toughness, and I think that's the calling card for Mansfield Summit. I think Mansfield Summit is an extremely tough team, and it starts with, you know, Iman Pritchard, like you said. But the game that we were all waiting for, North Crowley and San Antonio Brennan. I mean, we thought it would be a Atascocita. That's what we thought. All season we talked about it. Gasso talked about it. We talked about it here at the beginning of the show. After watching TABC, seeing that in the summer, we said Katy Seven Lakes or Atascocita versus whoever in the state championship.
Right.
Seven Lakes gets knocked out by Atascocita, and then Brennan turns around and knocks Atascocita out. And here we are. North Crowley wins it on a you know, last second three against Duncanville, and it's just prime matchup. We have North Crowley, San Antonio Brennan.
Yeah, we do. And then Isaac Hayes won MVP of that game, a 227 guard prospect. I think he had 22 points and 6 assists. You know, the 22 points wasn't the most impressive thing for me when it came to Isaac. And, you know, and Coach Tommy Bracco, before I kind of get into Isaac Hayes eval, I thought Bracco I thought they executed their game plan. Brennan shot it horribly. I felt like the pressure that North Crowley put on Brennan early kind of frustrated them. Brennan turned the ball over early. I thought North Crowley started kind of getting easier looks. When they calmed down, they started making their shots, getting easier look, got in transition. The way they just managed the game was really impressive. They just frustrated Brennan. Like, it just felt like they frustrated Brennan all night. When Brennan had an open look at the rim, you got Trey Hall blocking the shot. Whoever I think number 2 is, the guard, just can really just always get to the paint, like a automatic paint toucher. He was tough. Going to Isaac Hayes with his 22.6 assists. The 22 points was the most impressive thing for me when it came to Isaac. Now, he made some incredible shots. It was the passing. Like, coming off ball screens, making those skip passes, making those reads, reading where the help was coming, and just dotting guys. I mean, he had 6 assists, but it really felt like he had like 12 to 15.
I was about to say, it felt like when we were watching it, like the way he was playing his floor game, it felt like 12. It definitely felt like 12.
Every time he drove baseline, they had that 45 cuts, find the cutters. Like, I mean, just always was getting guys open looks all night. Isaac Hayes is like one of, and Charles, he's one of those people wondering, like, they look at his size and, they doubt him. I think he's a really good basketball player. They always wonder what level people ask me what level I think he is college wise. I think when it comes to Isaac, it's all about the system and the fit more than anything. I think you got to believe in the type of player he is, albeit the size. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's someone that's crafty. Does he have crazy blow by speed? No. Is he a crazy vertical athlete? No. Is he on the smaller end? Yes. But he has hella feel. He is a ultimate competitor. He has a passion.
That is the thing right there.
He's he is. I coach TJ Birch, right? Where's TJ Birch at Wright State? Playing the NCAA tournament. I'm not saying this is one-on-one comparison because they have 2 different games, but I feel like guys that are so stubborn and they just do whatever they can to make it work, they figure it out in college. And
I agree.
Now the level, I think he could play Division I. I think it's big on the system and the fit. I know we talk about that for all players, but I think with Isaac, that is the most important. If a coach believes and finds a lot of use of him for him, and they can envision what he can be as a guy that runs the show, and we've seen it in the high school level, then I think he's going to have a great college career. But I love his passing skills, and I love his passion, and he is stubborn as hell. And the fact that he's that damn stubborn is what's going to make him successful. I
Yeah.
coach stubborn, like, you know, he's not in a arrogant, like,
No, he has a high level of belief in himself.
right. And that right there is what's going to ultimately make him a successful college player.
Yeah. I think that, you know, Isaac is somebody going back to, you know, a lot of people watching, they may remember this name, they may not, but back to his Arm 5 days. I know you know about Arm 5.
Yeah.
But he was, you know, second, third grade, fourth grade, and he used to just, I mean, he was tiny. I mean, tiny, and he would score 30 and 40 points. And I'm like, how is this little kid scoring like this? You know, and then fast forward to today and this season, but watching this particular game right here, it was like the chip on his shoulder is so huge. He's proving all of us wrong. And
Yeah.
he's saying, I'm all in. I'm all in on myself. I'm all in on my teammates. And we're going to win this state. It was like he was like, there's no question that we're going to win. There was no doubt the way that he looked on the floor. You know, some of those shots that he hit, the off balance, quick pull up threes. But like you said, the playmaking ability, the floor game that he played, it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And, you know, he's another one that I think spring, summer, wherever he decides to play, will say a lot. I think he's going to have a big season. He won the Puma chip last year with Reese down there. But I think wherever he goes this year, he'll have a lot of eyes on him because the eyes that he had on him there, Rice, Texas, and SFA were there. You know, I think he proved to them like, hey, I can play on whatever level against who. I mean, Brennan definitely were bigger. You know, they had a 7-footer, and he didn't do anything. Like, he did absolutely nothing, and he was a bona fide.
I feel like he had moments. I felt like Delano had moments. I felt like he had moments. I felt like they made it really hard to give him the ball. No,
they did. No, they did. They did.
I thought Delano had his moments. I felt like they probably should have got the ball earlier, you know, and it's just like I felt like, you know, some more paint touches, some more high-low stuff early where he touched it. Because when he got it, he was making them pass out the kick out to the guys at the three. They just weren't making shots. So I thought Trey Hall was that good.
Trey Hall was very good.
I thought he was really, really good. Like,
he was.
Talk about Division I prospect. He is definitely one. Right. Like, I mean, I knew he was a good athlete. I didn't know he got off the ground that quick. He could protect the rim at that level. The jumper wasn't falling. I know he can shoot it better than what he showed, but like Trey Hall was really good. Like Trey Hall was like played like he was 6'10". I mean, that was incredible.
Trey Hall was really good, and Alex Barther. I said to I got an interview with Brackle that I'm gonna be dropping later today. What I told him, I said, was this his best game of the season? And he said it was his best game in the biggest moment. Alex Barther played. He had a beautiful game on Saturday. You know, first quarter, let things come to him. Was hitting the three, playing again up against the rim. I mean, rebounding. That's what he does. He rebounds. He fights on the inside. But what he added to them on the perimeter, I think it made it very, very hard to guard and very hard to stop North Crowley. Because once he got going and Isaac was assisting and Trey Hall was going, I mean, everything was just clicking for them. And Brackle, you know, he also mentioned in the presser, he said, you know, this year we haven't been a very good defensive team. He said that. He said we've been a great offensive team. We're known for our offense, but defensively we have been kind of subpar. And they played, like you said, they played a really good defensive game. They made it hard for the 7-footer to get touches. They contested a lot of shots, made the guards miss. And I will say, Brennan, I can't think of the kid's name. He went down in the first quarter. He was kind of their engine, kind of you know, helped them go, and he got injured. But I think if he played, it still would have been the same result. Maybe the score would have been closer, but I think North Crowley still wins that game if he had played and they played again.
Yeah, North Crowley was just a better team that day.
North
Crowley team, you know, Brandon Hashama Dragon had a good game. I thought Taylor Todd and Donovan Chris didn't play at the level that we normally see them, but I think shout out to North Crowley. Isaac Hayes, I want to kind of go back to like in the summer, like I think really big spring and summer for him. We know what he does offensively. It's just going to be defensively, like really holding his own, you know, really showing that he can guard. That's some of the stuff that I kind of been hearing, like not, you know, if he can just really like show that he can defend at a higher level. I don't bad defender, but I mean, just when you're at that size, like defense is always going to come into question. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to him before the game for a quick second, and I said, "Hey, this is the game where defense is going to be the thing that helps you out the most, and just stay
Mm.
solid." And he was solid. He was a solid defender. He didn't get bullied. He didn't make bad reads. He didn't cheat. He didn't take himself out of plays. He played a solid defensive game, and I think this momentum that he has right now, he should carry that into the spring, carry it into the summer, and somebody's going to get a good point guard, man.
I agree.
He's been known as a scorer. His whole entire life, he's been a scorer. But now I think he's kind of settling into the I can score, but I'm a lead guard and I can set the table and run the show.
One
Yeah.
hundred percent.
Nightcap, Little Elm, and I mean it just
I
and
left. I left at half.
yeah.
Like there was no. I drove back to Dallas, man. Listen, I knew
you
where that was going. I was like, man, I'm tired of seeing these blowouts. This was another blowout. But
you looked at me. It was funny. We were sitting there and you looked at me and you was like, "Man, I'm leaving."
I
But
thought with this,
it was the perfect night game. I mean, they ran the table, and you know and it's funny because North Crowley beats Little Elm, somewhat of a controversial victory, but they just outmatched Westlake in every way. Bo Ogden, hell of a player, had a really tough shooting game. But Little Elm just really just bulldozed them, just completely bulldozed them.
yeah, they did. I mean, you talking about like Kensington Candler, Ian Barry. I'm a big fan of Ian Barry. I saw they got a
Yes,
full Ross offer because he just does the right things, good ball
he
movement.
does.
Or with a team full of like other guards, like multiple guards, he just knows how to play his role. He knows when he needs to take lead and calm the team down and get them to stuff, or initiate just kind of fast break opportunities. I like Ian Barry. I think just as a high school basketball player, like he just does the right things and it's translatable to wherever college he goes to.
Yeah,
The obviously Kensington Candler, he's dynamic with the ball, someone that can get to the paint. He's athletic. He's defensively, he's pesky, someone that can really guard and point of attack really well. And then Joshua Weems, DBU got a steal on that one. I
they
mean, I know
did. They did.
I
Wow.
mean, you look at someone like him, it's funny, like there was a few like low to mid schools, that low plus level schools that called me yesterday, and they're like, "Man, that kid Joshua Weems, DBU got a steal," and I'm like, "Yeah, man, he's been that good. Like he like,
And what have y'all been doing? What have y'all been doing?
right." Charles, like it's portal season. Our phone's blowing up about portal, but like everyone's looking at, okay, what's a high school kid that we could take? And
Right.
literally, all the ones that saw him were like, "Man, he would have been a good pickup for us and a good high school pickup, like athletic, fast, can make shots, can do stuff off the bounce. Man, like, and I was telling Ryan, I was telling Glenny at DBU, I say he literally, because DBU loves to press, they play
Yeah.
fast. Like, he is like a glove fit for you and y'all's program. Like, gonna have a great career at DBU as long as he continues to develop, keep polishing the ball skills, the sub creating skills, and all that. But like,
He,
definite still for DBU.
the thing that impressed me most was he had 6 assists. He
Yeah.
finished the game with 6 assists, won the MVP, and just seeing that side of him that was, he can create. Because, like you said, we know him to be a scorer, super athletic, get to the mid range, pull up, hit it, threes, get to the paint, finish, dunk kids, catch alley oops. But he showed the ability that he can create for others. And I mean, once you add that in, you can do all of those things. Plus that, I mean, they got to steal. I get it. Portal season, we want older guys, we want transfer. I listen. I understand. You get it. You got to keep your job. You got to win games. It's a really interesting climate right now. But there are some high school players that can give you what a transfer or more can give you. And, I think Joshua Weems is one of them. Um, he was very impressive, and he talked about how when he got to the school last year, well, this year I should say, even though last year, but um, they just welcomed him. They welcomed him with open arms,
Mm.
and it was one of those things that it says a lot about your high school team when the character of your high school team when they're able to bring in new guys and help them get acclimated to a system quickly, and then you just start running the table.
Yeah.
And I think multiple teams did that this year. But I think the team that probably did it the best was Little Elm. I mean, the only game that they lost in the past few months was to North Crowley. And and jokingly, Coach Barnett, someone had asked him in the hallway, was like, "Hey, y'all ready to play North Crowley again?" He's like, "We'll play them right now." It's one of those things where it's like that healthy competition, that competitive spirit, it goes a long way, and it paid off. Little Elm won, North Crowley won, Frisco Heritage won, Mansfield Summit won. It was the year of DFW. It was. They were starting to call the tournament the DFW Invitational, and I mean we're to that point, and I hope we can keep it up because I'm already knowing we start losing games. The first game we lose to a Houston team, it's gonna be Houston conversation, But this year was a special year for teams in Dallas Fort Worth, and it makes for a great setup for next season.
100%, 100%. And I just think that's what the D1 and D2 thing kind of just exposed, to be honest with you, just like the depth of talent
Yeah,
Dallas has over Houston. But I think, like I said, it can change next year. It's just that there's going to have to be a change in Houston and how on the development process and just the overall culture. Like I think it's not far off, but there's some ways to go, and I think they can be there if they're just people just come together more.
yeah, yeah. But it makes it exciting, because we do have a lot of kids leaving. I think it also, I mean, in my opinion, I think it also makes it exciting for kids to stay,
Yeah.
and not necessarily go to those prep schools and those environments because you lose a lot of the community support, the fan support, and depending on what your goals are, the prep, private, whatever, non-traditional, I call them non-traditional schools.
Yeah.
That non-traditional school situation is for you. But just seeing the communities rally around the team, you know, once Frisco Heritage made it, excuse me, these allergies, this mess is terrible. But
Right.
once Frisco Heritage made it, the whole city of Frisco came behind it. Little Elm had the city of Little Elm. North Crowley won, and Fort Worth got around North Crowley. It was all 817. So it was cool to see. It was a special year. And I'm glad it's over because now it's spring and summer season.
100%. Now, one day I do hope that we have a shot clock.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, listen, I'm not even gonna try to do a whole rant, but like, and I'm not even mad at the coaches. Like, playoff basketball, the only thing I have is playoff basketball, and even basketball is become a game of keep away.
It has in some say in
And
some
I'm not
areas,
even
yeah.
mad at coaches because listen, I coach in no shot clock games. I have played keep away multiple times. So I am not like saying this in a way like, oh, I would never, listen, from experience, I play keep away.
Right.
But a 35-second shot clock would be nice.
35, like we could just do 35. Like that would be great.
And I understand people look at it from a competitive standpoint, like, to compete. Listen, if you need more than 35 seconds to get a shot off versus a team, a quality shot off versus a team, that tells me more about you as a coach than
Huh?
it does about anything else. It's about the
Hey,
rule.
I mean, nah, for real. Seriously.
Because I listen, 35 seconds, you can still burn clock and still play like the game, the keep away game in a sense with a 35-second shot clock. I know
Right.
we're not gonna get it next year. I I I
I don't think
just
I don't think we're ever gonna get it.
we're probably never gonna get it. But
I don't
the
think
day,
we'll ever get it because I've known you, Ani, now for 10 plus years.
yeah.
And it's been the conversation every year. And I don't think we're ever going to get it. I don't.
Yeah. I don't think we ever will, but one day I just would like that. I mean, the games would be better. I mean, I've gone to multiple states with the shot clock. I've seen kids that will never step foot on a college campus
Yeah.
for basketball, and they are doing just fine. Like I
Right.
definitely like I understand. I'm not even saying this for the kids that are playing college basketball, that do play college basketball, the high level kids. Like it is a very easy process for kids that probably will not play college basketball to play with a 35-second shot clock. You can
Right.
still burn clock. You got to be a little bit more strategic with it. Your guys may be in a little bit of a rush, but hopefully one day in my lifetime, before I pass, I will see a shot clock in
Not
Texas.
gonna happen.
Old
It
school
ain't
high
gonna
school
happen. It
basketball.
ain't. It
Oh,
ain't gonna happen, dog. It is not
that
gonna
will,
happen.
and I'm not even mad at the coaches because I've done it. I would do the same thing that they're doing.
I
But
would.
boy,
Yeah.
watching a possession go like a minute to 90 seconds is brutal.
It is
Like,
brutal. And it's funny to me too, because we're in the era of 3-point shooting. The amount of 3-pointers that are being shot at the high school level is beyond me. Because I was never allowed. Me and my teammates were never allowed to shoot threes like that. But like you said, if you need 60 to 90 seconds, maybe I've seen possessions go as long as 2 minutes.
right.
It's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? But I don't think I don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's gonna take, but I've lost hope for it. I have.
Yeah. I just think we're in 2026. Let's update a little bit to the times.
Yeah, let's come to the time. But man,
Right.
what's up next for you? I know Field is 68, like we said, March Madness time. Give us some insight from the show. What were you saying? Who are you picking? Who are you thinking is gonna be some underdogs? Who's gonna hoist that trophy at the end of the year?
I got Arizona winning it all. I think Arizona, I know them in Michigan is kind of the thing, but Arizona has big guards.
Yeah,
Like they got big guards that can defend. Like they're loaded from top to bottom.
yeah,
I have Arizona winning it all. Michigan's team that's very interesting, and then Morris Johnson's kind of become the guy that has become like a potential first round draft pick and maybe could really rise up in the draft boards with a really strong showing
yeah,
the draft. We were kind of talking about upsets, like that South Florida Louisville matchup. Louisville. I don't believe Michael Brown's going to play in the tournament. South Florida with Coach Hodgson, who's been on a roll. I think that's a chance for an upset. We were talking about like VCU. VCU. I think they have. North Carolina, Caleb Wilson's not playing, so that's going to be an interesting one. VCU has
yeah.
been rolling. Can't count out Scott Cross in that Nebraska matchup. Troy versus Nebraska.
You can't. Yeah, we're rooting for Scott. We're rooting for Scott for sure.
You got McNeese and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt got to the championship game at SEC, but McNeese, they beat Clemson last year. Their
Yeah,
guard plays really good with Javon Garcia, Tyshawn Archie, and then Larry Johnson. I mean, there's some interesting first round matchup. You got the first four matchup. I'm sorry, I'm going on. Like I get passionate about this. Like you got NC State and Texas, and the winner plays BYU. BYU doesn't have Richie Saunders, and so like whoever wins that matchup, NC State and Texas played against each other in the Hawaii Invitational, and Texas won. I think they had 92 points that game. So that's a rematch of that. You got SMU and Miami, Ohio. Maybe that's one play. Maybe I was wrong on that who they play, but like that's a very interesting game. Miami, Ohio was like 31-0 before they lost or
yeah.
something like that. SMU, getting into the tournament second year with Coach Andy Enfield, that's gonna be a big game. I got SMU on that one. I'm gonna roll with Dallas on that one. But there's some really good games in that first round. Be interested to see what teams get to that second weekend. But I got Arizona winning it all. I just think their depth of talent for the guard play,
Yeah.
and to the front line is impressive. But Michigan, St. John's is playing really good basketball. We know what Florida's up to. They took a tough loss to Vanderbilt. U of H can't count them out. The freshmen are going to have to step up like Kingston Flemings, even more. And some of their depth, like Mercy Miller's now playing more. So there's a lot of really good basketball, but I got Arizona winning it all this year.
How far, or what is the first, Texas teams. We're talking about Texas teams.
Mm-hmm.
Who goes the furthest? Houston?
I would say U of H because I think if Texas Tech had Toppin, this would be a trickier question. But I got U of H. I think they've got Idaho. They should win that. They got the winner of St. Mary's and A&M. I think they should win that. Then they'll play Illinois. Like I think they have an easier.
They have easy road.
Well, easier road
easy,
to
but
that.
Easier, yeah.
Yeah, easier road to get Elite Eight. You may have to play Illinois, or maybe you're playing VC. Maybe VCU or there's some upsets there. North Carolina again doesn't have Caleb Wilson. If you look at like Texas Tech. I mean, they got Akron. Then they play the winner of Alabama, and so they'll play Alabama second round. So that could be tricky. Again, no JT Toppin, but Coach Grant McCastin does a hell of a job.
Oh, Aiden Holloway. We just found out Aiden Holloway got caught with a pound of weed in the car.
Right.
What were you what were you doing?
Like
He's out. He's out. I mean, a pound of weed is crazy.
That's absolutely nuts. So that's absolutely nuts. So maybe they have a chance there, but they have a decent look. Texas, SMU, I don't see them going too far. And then
Yeah.
you got TCU. I mean, if you beat your game against Ohio State, you got Duke the next round. So I mean, I love the Horned Frogs. I love all my Texas programs, but I don't know about that Duke game. I hope they can maybe get that one, but I can't count them against Duke. Duke's a different ball game. I know Caleb Foster's not playing. So you can kind of run some different stuff. You'll see what you can challenge them on the perimeter of the shooting. But I would say U of H probably would. And that's my guess of having the longest, get the furthest in the tournament. And I do think their path to the Elite Eight is a little bit easier than some of the other guys.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna be watching, man. We're gonna be watching for sure. Exciting times. War Before the Storm. Are you gonna be there?
Yeah, I may go for a day. I'm gonna go the same weekend as McDonald's All American weekend. So
Yeah,
I
was gonna go to McDonald's All American, but after they did what they did to Bryson Howard, I was kind of like, man, I don't want to support that. I just can't, man. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna hit up Hampton 757 for the Iverson game. I lived there for 4 years. Lived in Newport News for 4 years, so it'll be good to get back to the city, get some good seafood, hang out a little bit with some old friends, and watch some good basketball. But War Before the Storm, man. That's the first one I'm out at, and it should be exciting. And then after that, we got the AAU transfer portal because teams lost and they they need to find new teams.
right, they do. You got the AAU
But,
transfer. You got the college transfer portal, which is going. My phone is blowing up. I need to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, just to be able to do these pods. I mean, it's portal season, guys.
It is portal season. It is portal season, man. Question. I do have one question for you, and you may have some insight on this, maybe not. But Thad Matta retires, and we have a Metroplex guard there, Finley Bisjack. Played at Byron Nelson, Southern Assault, won multiple Big East Player of the Weeks this year. Had a really good season. Can we see him transfer? Maybe come home. Maybe go somewhere else. What you think?
I can't answer that.
There we go. Man,
now,
I'll try.
I've heard. I can't answer that. I will let but
you're gonna let it play out. You're gonna let it play out.
Yeah, I kind of his name's been buzzing around for sure.
Oh, come on, man. I know it's been buzzing. He's been having a hell of a year. He's been.
Hey, listen. Just his name been buzzing, and I think Finley gonna have a good payday next year wherever he's at.
Man, that's dope. Well, man, thanks for joining me this morning, man. I appreciate it. Great show. And I will see you at the War Before the Storm, maybe one of those days.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you,
Charles. All right, man. Yep.